Have you ever felt completely abandoned? Like every prayer hit a brick wall, every hope dissolved into thin air, and God himself had simply vanished? That gut-wrenching silence, that crushing weight of isolation, it's a feeling that can shatter even the strongest faith. But what if I told you that in that very silence, in that profound desolation, lies a secret to an unbreakable connection with the divine? What if I told you that one of the Bible's most powerful prophets, a man who literally called down fire from heaven, faced this exact despair and survived? This isn't just an ancient story. It's a raw, visceral blueprint for navigating your darkest moments. Stick with us, because today we're peeling back the layers of Elias's most terrifying ordeal, revealing the forgotten wisdom that can transform your suffering into triumph. And if you're searching for answers in the silence, if you're yearning for a deeper connection, then make sure you hit that subscribe button right now and join our community. You won't want to miss a single revelation we uncover here at Eternal Connection with God, the prophet Elijah. Just hearing his name conjures images of power, of divine intervention on an almost unimaginable scale. He was God's chosen instrument to confront the idolatry that plagued Israel, to challenge the false prophets of Baal, and to prove once and for all who the true God was. Remember Mount Carmel, the dramatic showdown, the drenching of the altar, the fire from heaven consuming the sacrifice, the wood, the stones, and even the water in the trench? It was an epic, undeniable victory for the Lord, a moment of unparalleled spiritual triumph. The people fell on their faces crying, "The Lord, He is God! The Lord, He is God!" Elijah, riding the crest of this divine wave, then prayed for rain, ending a 3.5-year drought. He outpaced Ahab's chariot, fueled by supernatural strength. He was, by all accounts, a spiritual titan, a man walking in direct, undeniable fellowship with the Almighty. He had witnessed miracles, performed wonders, and stood firm against overwhelming odds. Everything pointed to a direct, unceasing flow of divine power and presence. Yet immediately after this monumental victory, something truly shocking happened. Queen Jezebel, enraged by the slaughter of her prophets, sent a chilling message to Elijah. "So may the gods do to me and more also, if I do not make your life as the life of one of them by this time tomorrow." This wasn't a vague threat. It was a death warrant, delivered by the most powerful woman in the kingdom. And how did Elijah, the mighty prophet, respond? Did he call down fire again? Did he summon an angelic host? No. The Bible tells us in 1 Kings 19:3, "Then he was afraid and arose and fled for his life." He fled to save his life. The man who fearlessly confronted 450 prophets of Baal, who laughed in the face of death on Mount Carmel, suddenly crumbled under the weight of a single woman's threat. This is where the story becomes profoundly relatable, isn't it? We see Elijah not as an untouchable superhero, but as a human being, vulnerable and terrified. He ran into the desert, not to a safe haven within Israel, but deep into the wilderness, a day's journey into the uninhabited desert. He collapsed under a juniper tree, utterly spent, utterly broken. His prayer, recorded in 1 Kings 19:4, is heart-wrenching. "It is enough, Lord. Take my life, for I am no better than my ancestors." This isn't just exhaustion. It's profound despair, suicidal ideation born from overwhelming fear and crushing loneliness. He felt like a failure, despite his recent earth-shattering triumph. He believed that his life's work was meaningless, that he was no different from those who had come before him and failed. This is the moment when God's silence becomes deafening. Where was the booming voice? Where was the fiery chariot? Where was the immediate comfort? Instead, Elijah found nothing but the desolate expanse of the desert, the oppressive heat, and the echoing void of his own fear. This is the crucible where faith is truly tested. When you've done everything right, when you've poured out your heart, when you've seen God move in incredible ways, and then suddenly the bottom falls out and all you hear is silence. It's in these moments that we often feel most rejected, most abandoned. But here's the crucial turning point, the first secret to surviving God's silence. God didn't abandon Elijah. He did not rebuke him for his fear. He didn't even talk to him right away. Instead, he sent an angel, not with a sermon, but with sustainability. And he lay down and slept under a juniper tree. And behold, an angel touched him and said to him, "Arise and eat." And he looked, and behold, there was at his head a cake baked on hot stones and a jar of water. And he ate and drank and lay down again. 1 Kings 19:5-6. Twice the angel came. Twice Elijah was given food and water, enough to sustain him 40 days and 40 nights, all the way to Horeb, the mountain of God. This is profound. When we are at our lowest, overwhelmed by despair and convinced God has forgotten us, his first response is often not a thunderous voice, but a gentle provision. It's the unexpected kindness, the timely help, the quiet strength that appears when we least expect it. It's a reminder that even when we feel utterly alone, God is still providing, still caring, often in ways we don't immediately recognize as divine intervention. He doesn't always answer our why with words. Sometimes he answers it with nourishment, with rest, with the strength to take the next step. Elijah journeyed to Horeb, the very mountain where Moses had encountered God in the burning bush and received the 10 Commandments. He entered a cave seeking refuge, seeking answers. And there, God finally spoke not in thunder or fire, but in a question. "What are you doing here, Elijah?" This isn't a scolding. It's an invitation, an open door for Elijah to pour out his heart. And he does. "I have been very zealous for the Lord God Almighty. The Israelites have rejected your covenant, torn down your altars, and put your prophets to death with the sword. I am the only one left, and now they are trying to kill me too." 1 Kings 19:10. Elijah felt utterly alone, completely isolated in his devotion to God. He believed he was the last faithful one, a lone warrior against an overwhelming tide of apostasy. This feeling of unique suffering, of being the only one who understands, is a common trap in despair. It magnifies our pain and isolates us further. Then came the moment of revelation, the second secret to surviving God's silence. God commanded Elijah to stand on the mountain before him. And behold, the Lord passed by, and a great and strong wind tore the mountains and shattered the rocks before the Lord. But the Lord was not in the wind. And after the wind an earthquake, but the Lord was not in the earthquake. And after the earthquake a fire, but the Lord was not in the fire. And after the fire a gentle whisper. 1 Kings 19:11-12. This is a pivotal moment, a masterclass in divine communication. Elijah, accustomed to God manifesting in dramatic, powerful ways, fire from heaven, mighty winds, expected God to appear in a similar display of overwhelming force. But God wasn't in the spectacular, the ear-splitting, the earth-shattering. He was in the soft whisper, the still, small voice. This challenges our preconceptions of how God should speak, how he should show up. Often in our pain, we demand a grand spectacle, a thunderous declaration that God is with us. We want undeniable proof, a billboard-sized sign. But God, in his infinite wisdom, often chooses the quietest, most intimate way to communicate. The still, small voice requires us to quiet our own internal storms, to silence the clamor of our fears and anxieties, to lean in, to listen with an attentive heart. It demands a deeper level of focus, a more profound spiritual sensitivity. It's in that whisper that we often find the most profound truths, the most intimate comfort. The silence wasn't God's absence. It was his invitation to a deeper, more personal encounter, one that required Elias to move beyond his expectations of divine power and into the realm of profound intimacy. After this moment of profound encounter, God spoke to Elijah again, repeating the question, "What are you doing here, Elijah?" 1 Kings 19:13. Elijah was not alone. He was not the last faithful one. God had preserved a remnant, a vast and hidden community of believers. This shatters the illusion of isolation, the lie that despair often whispers to us, that we are unique in our suffering, that no one else understands, that we are fighting this battle alone. God reveals that even in the darkest times, even when it feels like the world has turned its back on him, there are always those who remain faithful, those who share our convictions, those who are part of the larger spiritual family. We are never truly alone, even when our feelings scream otherwise. This truth, that there is a hidden community, a body of believers, is a powerful balm for the soul. Elijah's journey from Mount Carmel to the whisper on Horeb is a powerful testament to the human condition and God's unwavering faithfulness. It teaches us that even the strongest among us will face moments of profound despair, moments when God seems silent, absent, or even cruel. But in those moments, we are called to remember three profound truths. First, God often answers our deepest needs with practical and silent provision before uttering a word. He meets us where we are, nourishing our bodies and souls, even when we cannot perceive his presence. Second, God's voice often comes in a whisper, not a shout. He invites us into intimacy, urging us to calm the external storms and internal chaos to truly hear him. And third, God's response to our despair is often renewed purpose and the revelation that we are never truly alone. He reminds us that our story is part of a larger divine narrative and that there is a community of faith, visible and invisible, that supports us. So, the next time you find yourself in the wilderness of despair, feeling the crushing weight of God's silence, remember Elijah. Remember the angel's bread, the quiet whisper, the renewed mission, and the hidden community. Don't mistake silence for absence. Don't mistake quiet provision for abandonment. God is always at work, always present, always caring, even when his presence is subtle, even when his voice is a whisper. He is calling you to lean in, to listen, to trust that even in the deepest darkness, his light is there, guiding you to renewed purpose and unbreakable connection. This journey of faith isn't about avoiding the desert. It's about learning to thrive in it, to find God's presence in the quietest corners of our lives. If Belias's story resonated with you, if you've ever felt that crushing silence, then this message is for you. Don't let despair win. Embrace the stillness, seek the whisper, and discover the profound connection that awaits you. If you found hope and clarity in this message, please smash that like button, share this video with someone who needs to hear it, and leave a comment below. Tell us about a time you experienced Deus's silence and how you found his presence. Your story could be the very encouragement someone else needs. And remember, for more biblical wisdom that transforms lives and strengthens your faith, subscribe to Eternal Connection with God. We're here to walk this journey with you, uncovering the timeless truths that bridge the gap between ancient scriptures and modern struggles. Don't miss out on another transformative message. Join our community today.